Welcome to my new home and headquarters, a great Indiana-built product. In the next 100 days, we will travel to all 92 Indiana counties. Then, we'll do it again and again, searching for ideas about the best ways to rebuild our state and for the homegrown talent to help us do it. Anyone who shares our determination to build a better Indiana is welcome in this RV and at the hundreds of places it will visit. So ladies and gentlemen, start the engine. We have 6 million neighbors now.
First thing you need to know about this is it wasn't my idea, only in the most indirect sense. I am the one who said that if I was going to become a candidate for public office, I wanted to do things very differently. Spend all my time on the road with the people of Indiana, and more than anything, be authentic. Say just what I thought, be just who I am, let the people decide.
Are you Mitch Daniels?
I am.
Nice to meet you. I'm Janice Whittick.
Hey Janice, how you doing?
I'm fine.
So you actually know who we are, huh?
No, I don't.
Still, when some of my old friends asked if they could come along with a movie camera and later if they could make a show out of it, I thought it was the craziest idea I ever heard.
Now we can say the governor was in my business.
Well, that's the point. Don't mind this guy. He's following us for a day or two. But the more I thought about it, it's really in keeping with the whole concept we started with. I said from the outset that I looked at this campaign as a 16-month job interview with every Hoosier voter a personnel officer fully entitled to check out the applicant personally.
Thank you so much for coming.
No, thank you. You're quite welcome. I think you know my husband?
Well, I guess I don't know. But if I don't, I guess I'm about to. So.
What's your last name?
Daniels.
Daniels.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm out running for governor. That's what brings me to town. So,
You're running for what?
governor of Indiana.
We live in Kentucky.
You do.
For those who watch this show, for better or for worse, you'll get a close-up, first-hand look, unplanned and unscripted, just the way I'm talking to you right now. I've never run for office before. Susan was reminding me I've been called to duty more than once. Step right up. We're about to have a drawing for $1 million. You may want to. But I never expected to do this. Along the way, you'll also get a great look at this beautiful and diverse state of ours and some of the terrific people who populate it. Up north, we have seen Amish ladies rollerblading at Bluffton. I have seen the most ingenious warehouse down south in Marengo carved into the side of a mountain. We finished one day recently down in southwest Indiana on the most beautiful farm with beautiful Indiana farmland as far as the eye can see in all directions, and had our first appointment at 9 a.m. the next morning in downtown Gary at an African-American church. And let me tell you, the people were equally beautiful in both places. And just because we couldn't resist the name, we took one of our famous side trips the other day, found a place even folks in this county I was in, Daviess County, many said they'd never visited. And we went out and spent a little time with Mary Purcell and her son Buck, one of 6 homeowners in the little town called Comeback. I'm glad you're here. I hope you enjoy it. Welcome to the road. What's on the curriculum today?
We're learning about Johann Sebastian Bach and different types of music of the Baroque era.
Yep.
And right now they're learning about oratorio. We're writing down some notes about that. And then later on, we're going to be listening to a little bit of Brandenburg Concerto.
You seeing diabetes incidence up a lot here?
We have our first disease entity is hypertension.
Yeah.
And then diabetes is right behind it.
So you're on the student council, huh? So you got to get elected for that. Did you have to give a speech?
Yes.
Did you? What'd you tell them? What'd you talk about?
I said that I can memorize some of it. I think I would be a good representative because I will help the school.
Yeah?
And he said that even if I don't get picked off, so I'll respect everybody.
Good. That's good. Well, I'm glad you won. I hope I do as well as you did. Now, when will you know exactly? Were you able to tell in advance? You know, for example, that this is 40 odd. I mean, is your eye good enough to do that?
We're storing all these.
Yeah.
But I keep track. I got a little notebook here, and I keep track of these loads.
Yep.
We'll keep track of that load. We'll know within 50 bushel on that load.
Uh-huh.
We know within.
And what's the capacity of that?
That holds about 1,100.
1,100. So you'll know.
When I get done here.
Within 4 or 5%.
Right.
So the rules that affect you are 3 hours after school or after 7 o'clock. Either one.
After 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
No way after 7 o'clock. 14 or 15. And
you got kids?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a 15-year-old that was in a track meet till 10:30. I was picking her up in the rain.
Right.
That's fine. She go to school dance. That's fine. But if she worked past 7:01, the employer was in trouble.
I can't argue with the common sense of what you're
Well,
saying.
and if the parents, say, hey, I'd like my kid to work till 8 o'clock tonight. He's doing good in school.
All right.
Maybe 2 nights a week. That'd be great.
All right.
I don't know. Just a thought.
Well, tell me your name again.
Dan Lovell.
So you work for yourself, or?
Yeah, I work for myself.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Does enough of this business keep you going?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, there's probably not that many people who can do what you do. I guess probably fewer dealerships all the time because there's fewer customers all the time.
Right. Everybody's going big. It's getting. Just wanting to get.
Yeah. What would you consider max capacity at this facility?
Max capacity, about 15 units.
Uh-huh. You buy the chassis and then this comes. Yep.
And then we put all of this on.
Yep. You do your own cabinetry. What's red mean?
Red, this is ready to come out. See how loose it is?
So green's for the body,
And
red is for some sort of a,
dig anything
yeah.
loose.
They use 3 axes as 6 transducers, and they can tell you any wind speed and direction.
For airports
wind
and so forth, you mean?
Airports, weather stations.
That's interesting.
They make a very high-end, sophisticated system.
And what's the role of the transducer in all that?
The sound wave traveling between the two gets affected by that wind. It affects the frequency. It's just like if you yell into the wind
in a
versus,
predictable and measurable way.
That's right.
It says no soliciting. You think that means us?
That's you. Jenny's hard at work. Today's the day the paper goes out.
How are you? Mitch Daniels.
Hi.
Steve, good seeing you.
Good to see you.
Now I got to get the story straight about how you're publishing these days. Under both names every edition, or?
He asked me the name of the paper. I said, there's 2 names, one paper.
Yes, ma'am.
Baby Reveille Enterprise and Wisconsin Democrat.
So is there ever a masthead that says the Democrat?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And does it go to certain subscribers, not others?
Yeah.
It's the same paper?
Yes.
Fabulous. We're the 8th most obese state in the country. We're the 5th highest rate of smoking. We're in the top 20 in almost every dangerous disease state, diabetes and hypertension and so forth.
I consider myself a business person and someone who thinks the heart of life is on the private side, in families and in businesses, and at the Little League and in the church, and that I want to be a governor that makes sure that all those parts of life have a chance to grow and flourish.
I-Step Plus testing has been going on recently. A lot of people would like to have that in the fall. There's others that like to have it in the spring. Some people would like to do away with it entirely. Where do you stand on that?
Well, I'm very much for testing, first of all. You know, we used to say in business, if you're not keeping score, you're just practicing.
Right you are, Dan. Mitch Daniels with me. And Mitch, first of all, I think a lot of people are familiar with you from the time that you spent as budget director for this nation in the White House with President George W. Bush. A lot of people might wonder why he gave you the nickname The Blade. Tell us about that.
Billy is the leader of the free world, so if he wants to give somebody a nickname, you're pretty much stuck with it. But I don't know, it came up early on. He asked me when he hired me down in Austin, Texas in December 2000, was I prepared to do things he wanted to do to try to make sure that taxpayers' dollars were well spent, not misspent. And we worked hard on that for 2.5 years together, and I guess that's the way he came up with it.
And you say the president called you the Blade?
Right.
Yeah, they say he comes up with nicknames.
Oh, he does.
All the people.
Of course, I told him I thought for once I had a better idea. I thought maybe he should have called me the Pinata, because most of the spenders in Washington thought if they could knock my head off, all the goodies would fall out.
Why you decided to do what you're doing? Because you had some pretty good jobs, and here you are running for the governor of Indiana, which I know, again, is a good job, but a stressful job.
It's true that I didn't expect to do this. I've never run for political office and didn't anticipate doing it. And I thought I'd go back to business when my enlistment with President Bush was over. I just got tired of reading stories about the decline of Indiana, the loss of jobs, loss of income, loss of our best young people. And it won't be easily reversed, but I'm convinced it didn't have to happen and that we can do better.
You've been talking to a lot of county officials as you tour, I'm sure. What are they saying to you about the financial crunch that they're in, and especially about the things that the state sometimes passes along to counties and without the money to take care of them?
It's a very common complaint, and it's very justified. You know, now, frankly, there's sort of a game of old maid that they play in government. The federal government imposes responsibilities on the state very often without money to pay for them. Of course, in the end, all the money comes from the same place, the American taxpayer.
Joe Kernan now possibly considering a run,
Yeah.
or at least that speculation is being fueled. How do you feel about that? How does that change things for you if he should jump in the fray?
In honesty, I don't think it'll change much of anything. I like Governor Kernan, always have, and I tell people at every stop, I told them here today, this is not about the people, they're good people. It's just that the folks who, for 16 long years, have been in control of our government here in Indiana probably are not the folks to get us out of the problems we're in today. And so I say repeatedly, I'm not running against anybody unless it's the governors of other states who have been taking our jobs. We've got to have more people and more businesses earning more money in this state on which they can pay taxes. Otherwise, we'll always chase our tail in terms of the state government's own finances, which are busted right now, and we'll not be able to make the further investments in education and better roads and so forth that our citizens want and deserve.
What is kind of the focus of your campaign? You know, his is quality jobs.
Well, he's 16 years late. You know, his side's been in charge for 16 years. They've been very tough years for Indiana, most of them. And but he's right about the issue. We've lost more jobs, more income than almost any state in the country. And we've really got to stop the tailspin, and there's no time to lose. As everywhere we go, we're just trying to make the point that Indiana's comeback has to be about everybody, about all 6 million people. It's especially important to say in places like this where folks feel that almost that they live in a different state, Kentucky or Illinois or Ohio. The kind of shape Indiana's in, we've got to understand we're all in it together. We're always on time, Mayor. We were, you know, headed for Aurora, and we were running a little early, like we usually do. But we have essentially a perfect on-time record.
Are we late?
No, we're never late. Let me say to everybody that this is now a significant occasion. This is the first time we've been late anywhere in 5 weeks and a day, and it is my fault. I believe in taking responsibility, and I'm going to do it here. There's one. Huh? I didn't see you guys getting any of them.
One of Mitch. One of Mitch. There are two more.
I know. Well, you know what I was hesitating for? There were two of them almost this close together. I was going to go for a twofer.
Hard left. Hey, Adam. Where's the entrance for this? I just got off 69. I'm on a. Hello?
There's the fence.
Well, we're We're now officially an off-road vehicle. At least under Ben's control. You need that light off?
It's not very well.
There's probably a reason they put those there, Ben.
Did you get a twofer?
Are we, do you see us? Are we going the right direction? He says you're going the right way. There he is.
Oh.
Okay, thanks.
It's not just a job, it's an adventure. I can walk there faster than this.
No. Well, I think you might have to, because this is a one-way.
Of all the towns I don't want to get a ticket in, this is probably it. I named my first dog Duke. I love to hear you talk, you know.
Well, I'm going to work for you, fellow
right.
Southerner.
You will, too. You not only became a Yankee, but a Republican. Now, something strange went on here.
Listen, my grandfather voted for FDR in the South. You know, he used to be solid Democrat.
Everybody did.
And when he ran the third time, Grandpa was 80-something, and he says he wouldn't vote because he didn't want anybody to be president for the 3 terms, but he couldn't vote against him. My mother cried the night she thought that Woodrow Wilson, not Woodrow Wilson, who was the other guy? Anyway, she was an ardent Democrat.
Right.
But before she died at age 90, she was calling Republicans to get out and vote.
It started after dinner in Kentland, Indiana on a fine summer evening a couple of months ago. We're having visited with some of the local folks all day. A lady I'd been with, 69-year-old assessor up there, named Janice Wilson, said to me, "Did you play any musical instruments?" I said, "Oh, Janice, I wish. Not since junior high." "Why?" She said, "Well, when we're done eating, I got to go to band practice." I said, "Band practice? What kind of band are you in?" She said, "I'm in the Newton Jasper Community Band." I thought that sounded like the cutest thing I ever heard. You know, Mr. Spontaneous here. I said, "I'd love to come to band practice." Next thing I know, we're walking into South Newton High School. I'm carrying her saxophone case for her. She leans over to me. She says, "I'm a widow lady, you know, and this will be very good for my reputation." We get in there, and just as advertised, there's 50-some folks, you know, tuning up all walks of life. And I'm going around greeting them, and to my great delight, the leader, Joy, hands me the baton and says, "Well, here, why don't you take us through the first number?" And off we go. John Philip Sousa, Washington Post March. It was fantastic. On my way out the door, a little lady in the French horn section says, "If you get elected governor, can we play at your inaugural?" Where's Dan? Dan, you're a veteran. I'm a rookie candidate. I was not so green I did not know the answer to that question. Which was yes, ma'am. Now, there's an epilogue to this story, which I wish I did not have to tell you.
Joe, how are you?
Rodriguez.
Martin. Martin? Mucho gusto, señor.
Oh, igualmente.
¿Cuántos años está en los Estados?
10.
10? Ah, bienvenidos. You guys see our RV back there?
Yeah, it's all signed up and everything.
You want to sign it? We need a couple signatures from Stroh. Might have to be you.
Cool, let's do it. Yeah, come on, let's go. V9.
So what's your guys' names?
I'm Michael.
Michael? Mitch Daniels. Squeeze,
Nice to
Michael.
meet you.
Yeah, good meeting you. That's more like it. She probably squeezes harder than you do. What's your name?
Kayla.
Hey, Kayla. How are you? She did, too, by the way. Teach him, will you? What's your name?
Seth.
Seth. Yeah, now he knows how. All right, come on down. You all can sign. And yeah, we got Michael and Seth. Come on.
You a Buckeye?
Yeah.
Hoosier now, though?
Yeah.
That's good.
Been a Hoosier for
You think these guys
4 years.
think these guys did well enough to earn a shirt?
I think so.
Well, then,
You guys, let me get you guys a couple of t-shirts.
huh? If you'll wear them, you can have them.
Oh, yeah, we'll wear 'em. Oh, I'll wear it.
Tobacco business isn't what it used to be. There was a time I thought I felt like I made $1 a pound. But I would think today if I made 35 cents a pound, I would be I'd be doing well. And it sure doesn't make as much money as our parrots do.
Wait, parrots? Like the birds?
Yes, parrots like the birds.
Is that where the parrots are?
In that other barn down there, she's got it
Second
locked.
barn.
You want to see a couple of them? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Come on in.
Well, we got a rise out of them.
There's one of the highest priced ones there is.
Look at the size of that guy.
Then there's...
How about that white one over there?
They call it
I understood.
And then here's one that's this baby, this bird is not very old.
I'm going to look at you, but I'm not getting my finger anywhere near you.
Forgot the little people.
No.
Even though we're good Republicans here, you have not forgot us.
No, well, of course
and
not.
It means a lot to have
Well,
somebody of
this
your
is.
stature to stop and see us.
Oh, listen, I'll be back. You know, Dorothy, the reason we're doing this is because I think it's so important to make it plain that every person counts and every community counts.
We really appreciate you coming to town and seeing us.
My pleasure, all the way.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Oh, there you go.
This is great. Does anybody know what really got the whole thing started? When we decided we were not going to be dependent on the King of England anymore, they wrote out a big, important paper, and they called it
the Declaration of Independence.
the Declaration of close, Marie, exactly. Between the Declaration of Independence, exactly, and some very brave people. We should always be grateful. This is back when you asked about George Washington, this is back when he was alive. Very, very brave. They signed a piece of paper that says, we declare, so it was a declaration, we declare that we're going to be our own country now. We're going to be independent. We're going to look after ourselves and be free. Yes?
I have a question.
Yep.
You know when they fought for America?
Yes.
Well, you know how there were black people and they helped too?
Yes.
Well, after that, why did they hate black people if it was a free country and made
Boy, that is a good question.
do stuff?
That is a good question because that was one real flaw. You know, nobody's ever perfect, are they? And we really weren't perfect when we started as a country, and that was the worst thing, was we still, for way too long after that, didn't treat everybody equally, at least in some parts of the country. But I think, you know, it took a long time and some more brave people, but we're much, much better than we were. And, you know, we can never stop working until we make sure everybody gets treated the same, right?
We don't get too many candidates for governor coming to school.
Well, we go a lot of places that don't see a lot of traffic, but
we're glad you came through.
Came all the way to Stroh to meet a Mitch. This is good. This is real good.
He's in kindergarten this year, so he'll be able to tell a kindergarten class tomorrow.
I'm Daphne Hoppus. I work for PSI Energy. I run a power plant.
Attaboy, Addison. Oh, man.
You gonna build our shirt?
Leonard, I saw your brother last night.
Yeah, he told me.
She's got it. You got it.
My husband's always on the teeter-totter of having to move out of state, so we definitely want to stay.
You just want my lemonade? Thinking about college yet?
Yeah, I pretty much know where I want to go.
Where's that?
I either want to go, I have 3 choices.
Yeah.
Georgetown, Hampton, or Northwestern.
So your message is positive, and we need that.
It's nice to meet you. Here, I want you to have this.
All right,
when you come up and go fishing with Paul, or come duck hunting.
Fish won't even see me coming. I said if I ever ran for office, we're going to go out and do it a little different, and we're going to go to the places that people haven't paid much attention to.
Absolutely, that's Southern Indiana, man.
It's a lot of places, but it is definitely Southern Indiana.
You got that correct.
Trying to take the slow way. Governor? Huh?
You running for the governor?
Yeah, not till next year. I just worked for George Bush for the last 2.5 years, so.
Poor guy, see my sign there?
Where? Which one?
Bush lied, troops died, and the rich got richer with the tax cut.
Yeah, well, who do you think would have done a little better? Would you like Gore over there? Would you like Gore in charge the last couple of years?
Well, that's hypothetical, but that's who I voted for.
Well, it was pretty close.
He won.
It could have happened. Nah, he didn't win.
Chandler's my name, David Chandler.
David, I'm Mitch.
I'll shake your hand.
Well, I'll shake your hand.
I always like to.
Well, a man's entitled to his opinion. I respect your opinion.
I'm the Democrat precinct committeeman for our township.
Well, then good. You're in there doing what
I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
That's
so
all right.
Like that and everything.
Listen, I like people who get involved in it. You know.
I am tickled to death that you stopped, because if you hadn't stopped, I'd have talked about you. Because listen, listen, if you get to be governor, I want you to remember this place.
I will remember this place. I will.
We will call you.
Yeah, well, that'd be fine. 6th of June, said goodbye to the president as he left for Camp David. We quit early at OMB that night, 8:30. Took the senior group out to barbecue as one last thank you. Went home, slept on the rug of my apartment because the rental furniture had been taken out that afternoon. I knew this was the right call for sure that morning in August when Maggie Daniels, last of the 4 Daniels girls, got up for the first day of school of her last year at home. So, last year of the last girl. And I was there to cut the cantaloupe and pour the orange juice, and I was pretty sure I'd made the right decision. Meg was featured in one of my more memorable experiences very shortly after the anthrax letters were received in Capitol Hill and some media offices and so forth. My wife came in, brought the mail in, put it on the counter, and a lot of white powder fell on the floor. So she calls down to Washington, and the Secret Service said, well, we're taking no chances these days, and gave some instruction. And at the end of the day, by the way, this all turned out to be exactly what I thought, somebody's idea of a funny prank. But we didn't know that right away. And the first chance I got to talk to Maggie Daniels, then age 15, she was in the ambulance on her way down to the hospital to get checked. And she's a pretty level-headed kid, but I didn't know. And I got her on the phone and said, so Mag, how you doing? She said, oh, fine, Dad. It's like being in a movie. She said, Dad, listen, do you think I can get a note from the FBI to turn in my homework late? So I knew she was fine. Well, the next Monday, we had a meeting of the Homeland Security Council, and I'm sitting there talking to Bob Mueller, the director of the FBI. We're waiting for the president, and I tell him this story. He thinks this is very funny. So he said, what's her name? And he flips over he's got the little embossed place card, Director Mueller, it says. He flips it over and says, this is to certify that Maggie Daniels is entitled to turn in her homework 1 day late. Signed, Robert Mueller, Director FBI. I took it home the next trip and gave it to her, and she said, Dad, perfect. There's no date on it. She calls it her get out of jail free card. So now I have a new life, and it's one that I hope you'll all be deeply involved in.